Hello, 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 and welcome to another rewind where I have my favorite man, Bryce
Favorite
Egym
man.
Paulie. I called you a man
Correct?
because you're not a
Well done.
boy, you're a man.
Yeah, thanks for that. That's yep,
But
sick.
is that a poggers?
Yeah, that's poggers.
Yep,
That's a big
yep.
mm.
So, I guess what we're doing today to talk on this episode of, do I call it an episode? Is it an episode or is it
It
like a
can be an
weekly
episode if you want it to be an
episode?
episode.
All
Yeah,
right,
that's fine.
on this episode of the rewind, we will we're talking about the OPL, the Gauntlet, because I feel like there's some sticky situations and all the people may not be familiar with sticky situations.
Mm.
Um, a little quick touch on our games, I guess, because like obviously at the end of the day, they were our like Gravitas games.
Mhm.
Um, and then just a little touch on the OCS trials, because I know that you were a decent part of them. I was a decent part of the trials. And I
Mm.
feel like there's some things to be said about standard of play, style of the games, enthusiasm of the players, and whatnot. Um, and and yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So
Bit of a pog.
a bit of a
By the
pog.
way, I'm definitely just gonna be playing with this headspace ball from broadcast the entire time. So
Well, you know, it is ultimately a
good
worthy.
calls.
Yeah, I was about to say it
Yeah.
is a good cause,
So
and if you need,
first.
if that's what you want to do, and
Yeah.
if that's what gets you in a healthy headspace, by all
Yeah. No,
means.
no, I've just been doing it all day.
I
Yeah.
I I I know that you have been doing it all day. In fact.
Mm. Yeah, it's a good time.
Yep. Okay. So from me, where
Mm.
I want to start this and where I want to steer this ship is we'll just touch on our games quickly from
Mm.
the
Mm.
from the weekend. So
Yeah.
we versus Mammoth,
Mhm.
and what happened in that Mammoth game?
Yeah, before we touch on that, I want to say what Guts has just said in chat. Absolutely agree.
Is
There's
it?
definitely a light flickering behind you.
You
That's
know
a
what
little
happened?
bit that's a little bit ominous, but we'll move on. We'll move on. Mammoth game, because like ultimately like overall the weekend.
I'm running a
Sorry,
witch's den.
my throat's a little cooked, but like the weekend we went 1-1, but I think for most people it was like the unexpected 1-1, right?
Yeah.
I feel like our game versus Mammoth, like we came in pretty confident. I feel like we got a draft that we really liked, and we've been very successful on like 1-3-1, and just like elongating games and like playing multiple lanes, like for in the OPL, like the last couple of weeks, we've done it a bunch of times.
Mhm.
And we just had like a fairly solid game, right? Like the early game went well. Like they have like a very obvious like win cons in like the cannon flank and stuff like that. And I feel like we just played a fairly standard like strong game of League of Legends. Nothing super fancy. But like I was just happy with like how the game planned out. Like it was just like well planned, well like structured, and like it was just a solid one.
Would you say would you say in layman's terms it was some good hard yakka League of Legends?
Yeah, it was some good hard Yakka League of Legends. I like that.
Yeah, I knew you'd like that. That's why I ripped that one
Yeah.
out.
Mm,
And then while we're on the Mammoth game, because
mm,
I mean like it was obviously a positive result. It was a good game. Um, there happened to be I'm not gonna lie. I picked the play of the week. Okay. I
yeah.
do
Okay.
select the play of the week in which what I
Mm,
think is like either a really good outplay, a really good passage of play, or a team play. And
yeah.
so I think this was a particularly big event in which swung the game, or whether it
Yeah.
was gold wise or momentum based in our favor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna bring it up on stream. You know what which one it is, and
Yeah.
I just wanna see your thoughts
Mammoth do
on
try to push a
whether or
wave into
not
mid,
it
but Harry and
was
Podbo are there,
the
plenty of
play.
wave clear.
Do you think this was the play of the
Gravitas
week?
not going to be
In
stymied
the
so
game?
easily.
I probably think so. Like,
Split
you want me
comes
to
here.
talk over?
All right,
Yeah, talk
Trevor
over.
goes in. He takes a lot more damage than he gives.
I
However,
can't say we
into the
opted, but
knockup
I
he
think
goes.
this was,
Harry
like,
forced to
the
flash
thing,
away.
right? I feel like
And Pabu
very
taking out
position.
Destiny on the final shot,
But,
bringing the
like,
party portal.
This is where, like, off the back of the back end of a team fight, I think, like, there's just like collapse in mid, and like this is literally the play which breaks up in the game. Like, we get a bunch of kills. I think Babip literally has come out of
I'll
base.
replay it.
Fortunately, he died once
Mm.
and then dies a second time off the back end of this one, like
Yep.
one by one. And it was just like, yeah, we just cleaned up a bunch of kills, and like this just breaks open the game. Like,
Do you think like in a sense, like, it looks like pretty inefficient, right? Because you got, like, Pabu, our mid laner hovering, sorry, we got our top laner hovering our mid laner, and, like, one of them's not farming, and there's a top wave just on its own in isolation. Like, do you think this is a play from Pabu that was, like, do you think this was a play from Pabu where it was, like, hey, bro, good guess? Or do you think it was, like, one of those things where...
I mean, I think it's just a read. I'm looking at the minimap. Is it an Infernal Dragon? I think it's just like Dragon Timer that's spawning. So like, it's like, yeah, top wave is a little boom. Like they whacked into like 2 top turrets. Because like we were like early lane didn't go well, and then like the swing plays gets us back into it. Like puts our comp online. Like we just literally a charge into the inhib turret. But he's just like making the read and sacking like side waves to actually be in the group, because it's like to look for something right now. Like was the play, and it's just like. Read.
So what you're telling me is Pabu's the player of the week?
Yeah.
Alright.
That could be it.
That could be it.
That could be the one.
I miss when Bryce was player of the week. I remember when Egym used to be player of the week, but...
I was bloody Pogger's player of the week.
Sometimes. Only when you had Alistair. Okay. Yeah. I'm good. I'm glad we can agree that was the player of the week. So now, I don't know if we touched. Did we touch on the Legacy game?
We touched. It's definitely a roughie.
Yeah. And Guts is in the chat too, so I'm very mindful about talking about the game, because I know him and his mates gonna be in here having a little giggle, having a little cackle. But
I think, I mean, like I think all honesty, because I was literally casting the game, right? Like that was a disaster. I think like multiple facets, like across the board, we laned incredibly poorly. And then like they just had like a very very quickly into the game they have like a 3-0 Kai'Sa or a 5-0 Kai'Sa that we have no answer for. And then it's just like literally we just get hard snowballed on. Like Legacy are a team like my caster hat on, like over the last couple of weeks they've been very inconsistent. Like you kind of like seeing like the small improvements and like speaking to Denny and stuff behind the scenes in interviews, like they're working on like early game yada yada. And this was their first game where they got to mid game without a goal deficit, and they looked quite good.
Yeah.
Which I think is like the big right? So like we gave them a very strong early game. They had a gold lead going into mid game, and they just snowballed it out very.
It's one of those things too. Like I want to compliment our team in the sense that like I feel like when you lose to teams on the lower end of the table, it's players' first reaction to be like, damn, like we played so bad, like this was so bad from us, right? Whereas like myself included, and I think most of our players were like, GG, well played. Like Legacy genuinely played well. Like Legacy did really well, and they punished us. Whether it was because we weren't switched on or not, like regardless, I think like they really showed up, and they've showed that they have like the right mindset and mentality to improving each week. So I want to compliment them for like that win, I guess. But yeah. So there's a question actually that I'm gonna bring up to you now from Twitch chat, which is from Lethality, and he says, when you're talking to your team, how do you get your players to focus on specific things for improvement?
Interesting. I think it's pretty broad in a sense. Like it's like how do you get people to focus on something specific, and it's just like having the conversation. I feel like being aligned in like what you want to work on. Like you can't work. Well, a lot of players. I feel like get stuck in the habit of trying to do everything. Like you can watch a VOD and look at 20 million mistakes, and you can't fix them all at the same time. So it's just about prioritizing, like figuring out what. Like I mean, like that question is directed at us from like a coaching perspective, but it's like aligning you and the player with what you want to work on, and then like just working on that thing, right? It's like picking a small list of things and actually grinding away at it before you move on. Like looking at a list of 20 things is overwhelming, and you just spread yourself way too thin. I'm all about monotask.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna say low elo players, right? But I don't actually know what elo the players are in. But it's like you can put yourself under a pressure of like I need to improve and quickly, and then like you think that undertaking, like Bro said, undertaking 15 tasks at once is the best way. When like you can you just physically can't do that. Like humans just can't. And if it was that easy, then everyone would be like the best in the world at everything they did. You gonna agree or not? I feel like sometimes I'm talking and you're not agreeing or disagreeing, and I'm just looking at you like.
I agree.
All right, thanks, Bryce. I'm glad you agreed with me. Yeah, I'm really glad that you agreed with me. Okay, so from there, We've already spoken about both games.
Mm.
Let's talk about the schedules. I mean, the standings and as it sits, like what Gauntlet looks like. I think that's like an
Yeah.
important because I think a lot of people watching right now, it's like maybe they know, maybe they don't know, but I think it's very confusing for them. So I'm gonna bring it up on screen. I'm gonna bring up the standings. This is the standings, Bryce, because I know you might be
Mm.
slightly delayed, or you can
Mm.
bring it up yourself. But
Mm.
currently, I just clicked one of the teams. Whoops, go back. Okay. Currently, this is what it looks like. Bombers in first, Sheep second, Avant third, us and Mammoth in fourth, Order in sixth. That's how the OPL website reads it. So there's no fifth place team at the moment. I
Yeah.
mean, technically we're fifth place because Mammoth have the head-to-head against us.
Yeah, no, we are.
Yeah.
There's like clear delineation between
Yeah.
every single one of the teams.
Yeah,
There's no
but
ties at the moment.
yeah, I don't.
Literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
So yeah. So like as it sits, we are on 9 points. Mammoth are on 9 points. 3 games left on the weekend.
Mhm.
What's your thoughts? What's your read on this? Because I
What?
sorry.
What? Go finish.
Well, I think Bombers are going to finish first. That's what I think. I think Chiefs, because I think it's in Bombers' hands, right? Bombers can't blame anyone except themselves from here.
Yeah.
Chiefs, much of the same. It's not in their hands anymore, so they probably play with a little bit more freedom. I think
Mhm.
AV. It's hard for the AV to go 0-3, right? But we've seen them go 0-2. But I think it's safe to assume that they finish third. But
Yeah.
it can. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I think where the ladder sits now is probably the most likely scenario. Because like the big thing is like Mammoth and Gravitas are equal. Obviously, like we're both on 9, and Order need to make up 2 points, which probably has to be like, and they play us.
And I'll bring that up. I'll bring the schedule up now.
Yeah, because I think like strength of schedule is the thing. Both us, as in Gravitas and AV, have to play Chiefs Bombers, which are like 2 difficult games given the current state of the OPL.
Yep.
And our game versus Order is fairly important because we maintain a 1-1 record.
Yep.
So whoever gets head to head, like Order basically need that head to head. They need us to lose the other games and win that game to get the head to head because they need to make up 2 points, and then if they beat us, they break open that one. So, but like I think the scenarios, there's a bunch of different, because I'm looking at it now, like different cases that can happen.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think most likely where the ladder currently stands is the most likely scenario.
There's even the scenario where Mammoth don't make Gauntlet, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Because they verse Legacy, and I mean like you can't undersell Legacy beating us. You can't understate it. They have made obvious improvements. So it's like Legacy versus Mammoth. Of course, Mammoth are the favorites to win that game. Like, of course.
Yeah.
Mammoth earlier in the season have lost to Direwolf, so I don't think you can just say it's a 100% free win for Mammoth. Then Order versus Mammoth becomes like a huge game. Like a genuine huge game for both teams. Because they're actually sitting relatively the same. And then the last game is really us versus Order. Second. No, that's the second last game. My bad. But the game, like if we beat Bombers, the game, our Gauntlet spot could be wrapped up.
Yeah, easily. So, literally that. And I feel like last time we also had a fairly good showing against Bombers.
I think we have never. So for context, for people watching that don't know this, as a team this season, every single team we've played, we've got two teams left to play that we haven't beaten, but we have never been 3-0'd. So against Avant, we have the 2-1 head-to-head. Against Mammoth, we're 1-2. Against Order, we're 1-1 at the moment. Legacy, we're 2-1. And Direwolves, I think we're 3-0. So I think like as much as these two teams are the best team in the league, I think we learn a lot each time we verse different teams, and I think like statistically we have quite a good chance to beat these teams. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think like absolutely. I think given current trajectory or whatever, it's like in our eyes, like the Legacy game is like the anomaly, right? Before that point, it was like we're a Baron steal away from beating Mammoth. It's like our Chiefs game was relatively close, and our Bombers game was like, compared to the first time we played them, we just got absolutely stomped. And then like second time, it like incredible improvements, like much better. And it's like third time, like going in like pretty, like nobody is favorites going in versus the Bombers, right? Chiefs now have the head to head, like they look good. But like that's always going to be a tough game. But I think ultimately the weekend comes down to, I just think it's incredibly interesting that most people have their fate in their own hand.
Yeah, they actually do.
Yeah, Order are fighting to take over both Gravitas and Mammoth, and they play both Gravitas and Mammoth, right? And it's like if we beat Order, then like they literally cannot get above us. If Mammoth beat Order, they literally cannot get above. And I feel like the top three, like it's pretty hard for like. I mean, Bombers and Chiefs are absolutely locked. I feel like AV are locked as well. There's no way that no way that Order can catch them, but they're still fighting for positioning. But basically, where the ladder currently stands, the bottom three in terms of Mammoth, Gravitas, or Order, all have their ride home based on their own results, which I think is really cool. Like if somebody chokes this weekend, then like it's on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And historically, Bryce, you, myself, we've never choked. What?
Okay.
What? Why are you laughing?
Okay.
Why are you laughing?
That's is that true?
I don't know. Like I like to think it's true because I look back on my career with roses and dandelions.
Yeah. Okay.
Just on that, since we were speaking about the games and stuff, I got to get a little promo in here, Bryce. I apologize and cut you off. We're talking about Gravitas versus Bombers. That brings me to the Friday First competition, everybody. I know you've heard about it. I know you've seen it. Here is the link to the Friday First. Before you vote, if you haven't voted already, I just want to be clear that Balkan is in the lead with 33% of the votes. Hayri is second with 14%. So if you want to try and notch Hayri up, because Hayri seems to look like he's on the rise, give Hayri a couple votes. If you want to give your votes to Balkan and just be one with the rest, then you can do that. But statistically, I think you have a better chance of winning a T-shirt if you go with Hayri, because more people have voted for Balkan.
Oh wait! Oh yeah! No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're a genius. Yeah. Play the game.
Play the game. Don't let the game play you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, smart.
And so, Bryce, have you voted? Who are you voting for?
I haven't voted yet. I need to do some thinking.
Because like I got it up here. I haven't voted yet either. I was thinking about voting Harry, but he's 14%, so that's also pretty high. So what I'm thinking about voting for Prayless. I feel like he's a real volatile player, and more times than not, he's gotten me the first blood.
Yeah. Okay. How many T-shirts have you won?
I've had a never-ending supply running through my cupboard, literally on remake.
Yeah. Okay. No, makes sense. I like that.
Korean Mentals thinks Harry level 1 to 5 is unstoppable. There's no way he doesn't get first blood. Yeah. I back that.
There we go.
I back that.
That's it.
In your opinion, who are the most consistent players in the OPL? Yeah, who's the most consistent, Bryce, in the OPL?
The most consistent player in the OPL.
I genuinely think if I asked you 9 weeks ago, you would have said Triple.
Yeah, I think maybe Mimic.
Yeah. Okay.
I think is a reasonable choice. I'm trying to think. Maybe.
I think Balkan's actually been very consistent. To be honest, I think he's actually.
I would disagree because like last couple of weeks, like especially the Chiefs game, only boomed him.
Oh, did he get boomed? Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. There you go.
So I think it's like someone like Mimic or Ray.
Who'd you say?
Mimic or Rays?
Rays, yeah, I back that. Tommy's been pretty volatile this season.
In terms of like consistent is like, you know what I mean. It's not like
consistent doesn't mean 1v5 standout player.
Like 0-5. Yeah.
So in other words, I was never consistent because I was either 0-10 or 10-0. Never 10-0. I probably had 10 assists.
Oh yeah, you level 2 going top lane, and either it wins you the series or it loses you the series. And
Either I lose my whole bot side jungle or I get first blood. Oh,
that's a strategy.
Unlucky. Alright, let's talk OCS. Let's talk the OCS trials. You were there for the first 2 games. Without name dropping, let's not name drop because we still have to do the period in which we discuss certain things and certain aspects of the trials. But let's start with the standard of play.
Okay.
So I've been there for all of it. You weren't there for all of it, but I know that you even though the times you weren't there, you did watch a couple on stream. So what did you think about the standard of play? Did you think were you surprised? Was it expected? What was the go?
Well, I mean, it's just I feel like it's actually genuinely a very hard question to answer because they're not teams, right? It's tryouts and like League of Legends is a 5v5 game, so like the games are somewhat all over the place because like it's not like a cohesive like structured environment where like you go into it like we want to draft this, we want to play this style. It's like nobody is set with that stuff yet.
Yeah.
Like I think standard of play, like I mean like OCS like B League versus like OPL, like it's obviously a little lower. But I feel like I was I was genuinely surprised with like some people coming in. Like I was with one on one of the first couple of days with a team that actually tried to scrim before
Yes.
the trial.
Yes.
Like as a 5-man unit, they wanted to like prep before that point, and like which is super cool to see. You know what I mean? It's not like they just all individually came in blind. They like actually wanted to prepare as a team. Kind of.
Yeah, I'm not sure if surprised is the word as well, but I remember talking to you after one of the games or one of the days, and you told me like some players genuinely like were like big communicators, and like so that's one of those things. Growing up, at least in the system, communication was kind of like it was somewhat hard to come by because it's something you had to learn. Because everyone goes from playing solo queue, not communicating, like you're just literally focusing on clicking your buttons. And then there was like some players in games who like really like somewhat took charge and like had the and when they were talking, it was the correct information. And I was like, yeah, you really liked that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that
communication is like League of Legends. Out of all like esports or whatever, compared to like shooters, like mechanics are actually less important. Like communication and like team play is probably like 80% of the game. In terms of like the difference between a bad team, a good team, a great team is like mechanics is rarely the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people like blank on that fact when it like should probably be fairly obvious.
I also remember you know when you're trialing, right? Like in my head, if I'm trialing, I'm gonna play the most easiest to execute comp in the world. Yeah. Like I'm just gonna pick R button comps, like, and I feel like that is your best kind of approach to the game. But I was so surprised there was some teams who just went for genuine hard to execute comps, which was like, and they did quite well on them. Like it was a game. Like they made a game of it. And for me, that was like, damn. Like there's a lot of players that play like a lot of things that sometimes I feel like just need like the opportunity or avenue to show that they're capable of doing those things. Because if you just look at solo queue, you just really never know.
Well, that's the thing as well. Like you have a mixture of players that have like A, played OCS before, maybe B, played OPL before, or C, just have no competitive experience. So it's like there's a big mix of people that know what like competitive League of Legends is like versus what solo queue is like.
Yeah.
And like those two things are like incredibly different. Like the game functions on a different level. Like you can't just solo kill your opponent because you feel like you can fight, because more often than not, if you're not like using your brain and you just decide to fight your laner, like the jungler will just kill you.
What role would you say is the most like you could play that role in solo queue, and then if you came and played competitively, you'd be like the most similar?
AD by far.
It doesn't yeah, okay, yeah.
Aside,
is it almost no, it wouldn't be easier. I was gonna say because like you're hitting minions.
Comp? No way. There's no way it's easier for any role.
Yeah.
I think in terms of difference, I think from hardest to easiest, it's probably jungle, top, support,
yeah,
mid, then AD.
I almost would have said support over top, because support's in solo queue. If you don't like your AD, you just get Mobies and go top.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like in like compared to like in competitive top, like you can get hard punished for tiny things.
Yeah.
Whereas in solo queue, it's not that bad.
That's fair enough.
I feel like the differences between like support and solo queue, support and comp, probably slightly less support than top.
Yeah, I back that. Before we wrap it up, before we wrap this one up, is there anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think I'm
all
good.
Yeah.
I think we bloody hit it.
I think we nailed it on the bloody head. We did the ladder maths. We did the we did the actual maths behind what actually happened. So therefore, the math that had already been done for us.
Sure. Snowball I haven't read it yet, but Snowball just put out an article that has all the ladder math for OPL. So like we didn't go we talked briefly about overarching stuff, but I'm pretty sure they have specific situations.
Oh, head over to Snowball Esports and give the article a read then if you're really interested in the OPL Gauntlet math, because there's genuinely could talk for like an hour about scenarios and matches. Like you could do a show on itself in that. Anyway, it's late. I know you just finished scrims, so I really appreciate you joining me like straight after scrims and taking time out of your night. Everyone in the chat, thank Bryce for joining me.
Stinky cheese.
Yeah, thank Mr. Bryce.
Stinky cheese in chat.
You like a stinky cheese? Okay, yeah. I'll copy and paste a stinky cheese, 100%. Floppy Sock just said clap after you've asked for a stinky cheese, but whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Disappointed to say that.
Again, thanks for coming, Bryce. Everyone head over to gravitas.gg Friday 1st. Get your vote in. And we will see you, or I will see you at the very least next week. Hopefully, and most likely for a Gauntlet edition.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. Maybe we'll get
Hell
one of
yeah.
the teams that didn't make it onto the show. Hey. All right. Again, guys. Usually we like to end this by hosting one of our players, but they've had like a long day. Scrims got pushed back, so they're probably like making dinner, eating dinner, and it's just not a good time. So yeah, follow Bryce on his socials, Egym, lol, Egym, and all that stuff. Why are you laughing? I'm trying to get you clout.
Yeah, nice plug. Thanks. Appreciate that.
You're really not a grateful bloke sometimes, man.
Well, go follow Juves.
Alright guys, peace, good night. I love you all.